what is happening right now in the House Judiciary Committee is worth watching to see how absurd the Democrats' actions are to try and get some justification to impeach the president that many of you voted for and elected. They have 4 law professors testifying. That's pretty normal during impeachment. What's weird is that in Bill Clinton's impeachment, the law professors testified about the articles of impeachment and whether they met the standards set forth by the Constitution and the Federalist Papers and our founding fathers and what we mean by high crimes and misdemeanors, not whether or not the president should be impeached, which is what these members of Congress, they're not relying on themselves. They are now relying on law professors, unelected, to tell them if the president of the United States should be impeached, which is their decision to make. They have the power to do it. They don't need the law professors explaining to them whether or not they can impeach the president. Of course they can. And if they had the votes in the Senate, they could remove the president. They don't really have to really even justify it. You can disagree with it. Voters can disagree with their decision, but they don't have to. I mean, it's pretty broad power. It's just a high bar of votes.
The Constitution, the founders gave the authority to decide on impeachment to elected officials, not law professors. But, Jordan, I would make one other point as well. I'm holding in my hands the 300-page report that allegedly is what is being considered today. I would tell you I'm pretty confident I've read more of this than virtually any member up on that dais. It's 300 pages, about 150 pages of substance. And, Jordan, I've been through every page of it. It doesn't make the case for impeachment. It simply lays out the witness testimony that we heard last week, which was, again, hearsay.
Impeachment was a reserved measure for narrow circumstances, extreme circumstances. What Adam Schiff and now Jerry Nadler are trying to do is to broaden the definition of impeachment. But the reality, of course, is that the facts do not support their analysis. Indeed, Jerry Nadler has often impeached himself. He suggested that you should never have an impeachment grounded on narrow partisan grounds, but that is precisely what is at issue here.
By the way, these law professors, like Noah Feldman, who likes to act real fancy, Rhodes Scholar, he tweeted 2 months after the president's inauguration that the president should be impeached. Trump's wiretap tweets raised risk of impeachment. President Trump was right. His campaign was being spied on by the U.S. government. But Noah Feldman, who has testified today, this Harvard law professor, that the president should be impeached, and they love going back to him because he went to Harvard and was a Rhodes Scholar, he was calling for the president's impeachment 2 months into the president's term.